Hi, join me, Surajat Marbury on ITV every Thursday night, 8 to 9 on ieSPORTS Digest, a comprehensive roundup of all sports, local, regional and international. We'll reach out to our villages and our communities in all areas of Trinidad and Tobago to highlight their sporting activities. I'll also invite prominent guests to share their views and address current issues facing sports, focusing on realistic solutions. Join me on ITV.
ieSPORTS Digest, Thursdays at 8 p.m. right here on IETV.
Hi, pleasant good evening and welcome once more to IETV Sports Digest. We had a short break last week because of the religious ceremony, Krishna Janamastami, and we are back here today. So welcome back to all our viewers live, those on the World Wide Web, wherever you may be. It's nice to be back with you all. Today, of course, we will have the roundup and at a slightly different program today, and that my guest comes from across the waters, originally from Trinidad, but we'll get to that in a while. Just a sports roundup, as we are aware that West Indies completed the 3-game series, 50-over games against the one-day series against New Zealand, which we lost 2-1. A very exciting last game there. A fantastic inning by our skipper Nicholas Puran, 91, to try and give us we got a competitive score, but then New Zealand were able to chase it down and we ended up with that series. As it is now, based on the results of those games, it's very difficult for West Indies to make it to the one-day World Cup. The standing, if you look at it, is very close. I think we are 6th, but only 8 teams qualify. But 2 teams that are underneath us, we have completed our schedule of games, and there are 2 teams underneath us who have more games to play and can catch up and pass West Indies. So right now we are living on the edge to see whether we can make it, qualify directly into the one-day World Cup. As it is, it's very difficult because we are below the magical number. The figure needed was 123 points. We are underneath that, and we have no more games to play. So it's a tough call there for West Indies. Had we won the last game, we'd have gotten 10 points and been in a little better position. We also know that today, England did bounce back a little bit to bowl out South Africa for 151. The old boys, Broad and Jimmy Anderson, still doing it. They pick up 3 wickets each. England were 111 for 3 at the close of play. BS2 is still there and going strong. The Trinidad under-19 has started the regional under-19 tournament. Unfortunately, we lost the first 2 games. The third was rained out. So we just have basically a playoff there now. There's no way we can run into the 1, 2, 3. It was some very low scoring games. I don't think Trinidad did as well as we would have expected. I don't think, honestly, we were properly prepared for the tournament. Was a 3-day competition this year, changed from the 1-day. And honestly, looking at the scores and some of the videos that were live, we didn't seem prepared for a 3-day tournament, and I think that is something that the cricket board has to address. I honestly don't feel our team were prepared to play a 3-day tournament because we do have some quality players that I know in that team. The under-15 tournament also bowled off, the regional under-15. We did win the first one, but until I checked today, Trinidad was batting, but I think rain came and played havoc with that game as well. I don't think it was completed. Again, across the Caribbean, I know everybody's excited. You turn on your TV, there's cricket whole day because the 60 tournament has started. The women's started yesterday. Unfortunately, our local TKR girls lost, or women I should say, lost both their games. Hopefully they can bounce back. The first game they lost to Barbados Royals by 28 runs, and the second game they lost to the Guyana Amazon Women by 15 runs. And the third game yesterday, there are 3 games every day. The Amazon Women's defeated the Royals by 5 wickets. The CPL men 60s also got going today. I know some of the scores I am aware of, that Ghana defeated St. Lucia Kings by 1 run, and then the Talawans defeated the St. Kitts Nevis Patriots by 55 runs. Brevis, those of you remember last year, CPL, the young 19-year-old South African, He was at it today again. I think he got 30 plus with about 5 sixes. in one of the games, in a losing cause. So a lot of cricket happening. We know we moved straight from the 60 tournament into the CPL, and I'm sure we are all excited. We have bought up our tickets for that because we do have games here, some at the Queen's Park Oval and some at the Brian Lara Stadium. They start in Warner Park, then they come to Trinidad, and of course we know that the finals, the semi-finals and finals this year are being played in Guyana. I can tell you that if you are still trying to go, if you are planning to go to Guyana for the final, try and get a ticket first, because as far as you know, it's very difficult. Most of it has been sold out, so don't buy a airplane ticket and then hope to get a ticket for the game. Get a ticket for the game first. That's the best piece of advice I can give you. And secondly, accommodation, because from what I understand, it's really packed in Guyana for that thing, and there are not much available. So secure your game ticket first, accommodation second, before you try to book a plane ticket to go Guyana, because it's gonna be a tough IPL. Football, hey, Manchester United fans, we won. First game, we are off the bottom of the table. Actually, we have put Liverpool down there by defeating them 2-1. So some great news there for the United fan. You know that is going on very much so every week. Arsenal, and we have a lot of Arsenal fans as well, one of the long-standing English Premier League clubs that has a lot of support around the world in Trinidad and Tobago as well, are currently leaders, and Manchester City, again, at the top there in second place, doing well. So hopefully we should see some improvement from our, of course we know we have plenty Liverpool fans, so that would have been a royal battle there, Man U United over the weekend gone, but United came off, and Ten Hag probably saved his job there, because had he lost 3 straight, I think that they would have been looking for a new manager. Of course, across the waters, Barcelona was again victorious, defeating Real Sociedad 4-1, and Real Madrid, perennial rivals, beat Celta Vigo 4-1. Villarreal is actually the top of the table there, with Real Madrid second. So early stages in these competition, La Liga continued with PSG having a 7-1 victory. So a lot of sports right now as COVID has ended, a lot of action happening. And for those of you who recently followed the European women's football, which England won, you will know that right now the Under-20 Women's World Cup is on. And in the recent games, the Netherlands defeated Nigeria 2-0. And Japan and France, yes, remember, Japan and France drew 3-3, but then France won 5-3 on penalties. Actually, those semi-finals are today. Spain coming up against Netherlands, and Brazil will be playing against Japan. So a lot of women's footballs again happening, and even locally we have started recently started was the Association Wolf for Women local TTFA football league, and that is going on in a number of what they call conferences or zones in Trinidad and Tobago. Police FC is in leading the Eastern Conference. Defense Force is leading the Northern Conference. Tobago Chicas leads the Tobago Conference, and Club San Fernando is leading the South Central Conference. So you can follow that live in Trinidad and Tobago. You can attend the game, support our women footballers, and you know, get things moving on. We need to support women in sports. That's very important. And again, in athletics, you all will know by now that Keyshawn Walcott is still there. He's still doing well. He recently gained a silver in the NCAC tournament that's presently completed. And Trinidad and Tobago also pick up a silver in one of the events. And of course, we can't forget Great Race. Normally, you know, it used to be the end of August. It's a little earlier. And for those of you who follow the Great Race, we know that Monster once again emerged victorious. We know we have the all-time favorite, Mr. Solo. Since small growing up, you got accustomed to supporting Mr. Solo. And that went to Mr. Solo 1, Mr. Solo 2, with the Charles family. But Monster came out the winner this year, with Joey Sabini and shuttleman Peter Peak and navigator Daniel Peak. So they were the winners of the great race this year. So a lot of sports happening around the world, things that you can still lock on to support and move on. As we move forward, another piece of sports here, that Trinidad and Tobago swimmers captured the 7th straight Goodwill title. So in the swimming in the Goodwill Sports Meet, again, this is something that we have done consistently over the years. It's our 7th time that we have captured that title, and it included teams from Barbados, Bahamas, Jamaica, Grenada, St. Lucia, and Suriname. It was held here in Trinidad and Tobago at the Aquatic Center in Couva. So we continue to do well in other sports as well. We know that since last we met, that some of our cyclists also continue to perform well in other tournaments. And of course, we have in England as well, the 100 tournament is happening, and that is important because in addition to the men, we also have the 100 women. This is the 2nd edition of that, and that will come up later in our program. So that goes on daily. So that is continuing as well. And I forgot, but I really wanted to start this program by, and I now picked it up here, extending condolences, because we are on radio, well, we're on TV, and we were accustomed growing up with radio. There was a voice that we heard every morning for those of you who grew up with 610 radio years ago. Every morning at 6 o'clock on the dot, sometime before, you'll hear this voice, and you grew up accustomed to this voice and the music that he played, and it was something that you look forward to. Dave Elcock, one of the legends of local radio, passed away today. So I want to extend condolences to his family and to the media fraternity. As I say, he's a legend in local music, in local media. So condolences to the Elcock family, and may he rest in peace. We grew up with that voice. I don't think it's something. And then remember, he also sang. He had some songs that he sang with his wife Mavis. Some went international. So may he rest in peace. Right, so we have completed the roundup there of where we are. And as I said, today's program is going to be a little different in that the guest today is a Trinidadian by birth, but who now lives in New York City, a grassroots Trinidadian at that, you know. Yeah. So when we come back, we meet this guest and we start our discussion. Thank you. Hi, join me, Surajat Marbury, on ITV every Thursday night, 8 to 9 on ieSPORTS Digest, a comprehensive roundup of all sports, local, regional, and international. We will reach out to our villages and our communities in all areas of Trinidad and Tobago to highlight their sporting activities. I'll also invite prominent guests to share their views and address current issues facing sports, focusing on realistic solutions. Join me on ITV.
ieSPORTS Digest, Thursdays at 8 p.m. right here on IETV.
So welcome back. As I was saying, today's we are going to be a little bit different. Yes, we'll have some sports discussion, but we'll also be traveling the world. As I said, this person is a Trinidadian by birth, a grassroots from the Freeport area, migrated many years ago, lives in New York now, but has traveled the universe, and you wouldn't believe it. He has done a lot of work from across the Kalapani in India. So in our discussion today, we'll be looking at many things. His name, by the way, he's Mr. Dennis Ramdahin. He has an MSc in Environmental Management, and he is founder and CEO of the Vihara Foundation, which is a foundation that looks at poverty alleviation, sustainability, and environmental awareness and climate change and challenges facing. One of the areas that they have focused on is how they can look at innovative ways and technology and change the way of thinking, change the way of funding. How do you get funding in a smart way, in a different way, to help people, to help alleviate people who live in poverty? And he took up the challenge of, as I said, going to India, where I think he lived about 3 years. We learn about it more. In Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. And for those of you who are aware, some of our ancestors came from there. One of the most notable one is Sivadas Sadhu. Sivadas Sadhu is the person, that man who built a temple in the sea, and I think most of you know that. Dennis is also related to Sivadas Sadhu. So he happened to make that trek back to where his forefathers would have came from, and he undertook a project there that we learn more about with the Vihara Foundation. As I said, looking at innovative ways to alleviate poverty. And we know, we have discussed in this program over and over, that funding is difficult to get for sports. Funding is difficult to get for everything. So he has been able, and he has been trying, knocking at doors. He has worked with the United Nations as well, trying to get things going. So let's meet Mr. Dennis Ramnahin. Good evening, Dennis. Welcome.
Hey, good afternoon. Good night. Suraj, thank you for having me on your show tonight.
Well, I mean, you are here from New York on a very short visit. You really came to visit your father. You haven't seen him in 3 years.
I haven't seen my father in 3 years. I mean, since COVID, the last time I was here was August 2019. I was planning to visit him in January 2020, and that got delayed, and then COVID came, and all of a sudden there was a major shutdown, and they only recently in June this year said that they opened up the borders for people to come in from overboard, you know, who didn't have vaccine, by the way. so that's why I came to see my dad, you know.
Okay, so tell us a little about yourself and this foundation, the Vihara Foundation.
Well, you know, I'm a normal Trinidadian. I went to Couva Government Secondary. I studied agriculture science. So agriculture is everybody know me in Trinidad as an advocate for agriculture development in Trinidad. And I have been beating the agriculture drums ever since I went to America. I went to America 18 years old because that was the days of the massive migration, and the only thing, you know, my parents said, you know, everybody's migrating, go. So they pushed me off. So I didn't go to Canada, but I ended up in America. So I have that experience of leaving this country, this loving country. I have that experience of leaving this beautiful country and going to a foreign land and having to, you know, strike it on my own. 18 years old, alone, living in a foreign country, 18 years old, trying to figure out how to build a life out there. But those experiences, you know, took me, you know, there's benefits to it.
Well, you have traveled a lot, from what I got, around the world and trying to sell your ideas.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, everything, there's I don't know, I mean, there is a fluidity in the way things manifest itself. I mean, I went there with an attitude of agriculture. I went there with an attitude of environment. And so happens where I was living was the only college that was giving environmental management bachelor's degrees at the time. Imagine that in 1992. The only college giving environmental degrees was York College in Queens, and I quickly signed up for it, not knowing that we were being taught by some of the best professors in America. And I quickly locked into that whole environmental training, and you know, that was the launch of my career, basically. You know. Okay. So I did travel a lot of the world. I lived in India for 3 years, and I was also in the U.S. military. So I was 12 years U.S. Navy and 6 years U.S. Air Force, and that took me around the world. So got a lot of global exposure to different countries and cultures and the way things are done, you know.
End up in any war? Did you actually go on the front line?
The war I'm fighting is the war on poverty. That's the war I'm fighting.
And you are trying to link that now with funding and assessing funding, and you are trying to link now the poverty and the sustainability and the climate change and sports and culture at the same time?
Yeah, well, I mean, before people actually, I see a lot of young people getting spoon-fed, a lot of young people being handheld and spoon-fed and being given big positions where they have no experience. Here I am, I had to grow from grassroots. I had to go through the pain of learning what is it like to work in a 9-to-5 infrastructure, have a boss, put up with status quo, put up with challenges, confront people and say, this is not right, we can do this better. We can innovate, we can do this better. And those qualities is what led leaders to say, this guy is doing something different. We need to pull him to the front of the line, And I wasn't spoon-fed. I wasn't given any high-level positions to say, here's a gimme, or, because I know your parents, or I know this one and that one, I'm going to give you authority a role. No, I had to work hard. I had to actually do substantial work that people now recognize globally. This is meaningful, this is impactful, this is what the world needs now. So now I'm in the billionaire clubs. The people I work with are billionaires funding my program. The people I work with see that what this Vihara Foundation can deliver, and with the makeup of the global spread of professionals that is working with Vihara, can really make a dent in the world. So yeah, that is a little background on how I got to where I am right now. So you asked me a question about sports. Sports, with the acceptance in these clubs, I call them clubs because they're not really clubs. They're like invitation to make the world a better place. All right. So they're not really clubs. They're not places where we go and hang out and have fun. They're places where we go and we work and we try to make the world a different place. So one of the things we are doing in order to mastermind and pay and fund innovation is to use the world of entertainment, all right? The world of entertainment, branded entertainment, to draw in people, educate people, get their participation, have them come into the play and create revenue on a commercial platform, but directed to a nonprofit platform that will fund the innovative projects. So one of the things I heard you mention was we need to pay more attention to women in sports.
Very much.
This is the direction we're going. I mean, because I'm playing with all these big players now. I'm in the big boys club. I'm working with those people who are reinventing women in cricket. All right, I'm working with the Fair Break group that launched the T20 women tournament this year in May. They're close collaborators with us because their fund, the SDG Impact Fund, is the one that is funding our entertainment program, which is going to launch concerts around the world that involve big celebrities to basically propel the mission that we are working on. So
interesting, because normally you talk about funding and you talk about looking for funds to sustain sports and get sports going, and you are looking at a different avenue now of using sports and culture as a means of generating revenue from major sports and culture events, as a means of generating revenue, which will then be channeled into NGOs that are doing poverty alleviation and sustainability.
Well, what is poverty? Where does poverty exist? You think any cricket fan wanting to see a game, buying a ticket, coming to the stadium, watching the game, enjoying himself, and going back home, you think that person is separated from poverty? There are many fans coming to a cricket game that comes from poverty-stricken communities.
Very much so.
Okay? They are subjected to poverty, but they are so empowered by cricket that they do whatever it takes to have that experience. What we want to do is not allow the profits to only go to the business managers and nothing goes back to the communities. We are designing a model which is called the Possible Events Humanitarian Concert Series, or basically Possible Humanitarian Concerts Events. And concerts, a concert is a cricket game because you're congregating so much people in a stadium, right? And you're providing entertainment, but it happens to be a sports concert as opposed to a music concert. What we are doing is we're holding commercial events, commercial concerts. We are entertaining people. We are driving interest, building confidence, getting donorship, selling merchandise, generating revenue and online participation, and then channeling a significant amount of revenue back into the NGOs, back into nonprofit programs. So you may see this revenue reaching back sports engagement. You may see, for example, if you have a program where you said, I want to drive sports because sports is going to strengthen the mindsets of young people, strengthen the mindset of the community, and build more young, vibrant citizens, right? You would see that we could be directing some of this funding back into your program.
I was now coming to that because once you generate the income and you take it to the NGOs and you go into the areas that need the assistance, some of those same people that you are assisting, especially the younger ones, are the ones who will eventually rise to the top in the sports arena. And therefore it comes like a cycle because they will see the willingness to give back to where they came from.
Yeah, well, everybody should be an owner of their community, and we don't see that today. We are seeing that people are individuals. Neighbors are building fences, and fences are dividing neighbors, and people are not having that community spirit. But cricket breaks down these fences. Sports allows communities to come together. And if we do sports right, and people are encouraged to participate in sports, and they incentivize, and we have some funding to buy the gears and pay for whatever the needs are to bring the youths out, we will see a difference. And especially, I want to emphasize on women. Women is now taking claim to the cricket industry. We're seeing the T20 Women Championship launch this year, and I'm working with those people who did that launch, and I'm going to be a very active member in ensuring that our Caribbean women get to participate in this whole.
That's wonderful because we have, recently there has been a rise in women's cricket, more attention being paid. Very interesting, in New Zealand recently decided that they must be paid equal. And that was a giant step for women's cricket to their male counterparts. We have had the Big Bash Women's T20. This is the second year of the 100 in England. First time we have it in the Caribbean with CPL. We know that the Indian IPL women is coming next year, most likely. It's all on the drawing card. And you say that the Fairbanks Invitational T20 tournament in Dubai kicked off this year, and that's the one that you are working with, and you are looking at
Fairbreak, yeah.
Yeah, Fairbreak Invitational tournament in Dubai, and that is one that you are working with, and you mentioned, it's an opportunity for our Caribbean women cricketers to get into.
So let me explain this. The Fairbreak Invitational tournament is funded by the SDG Impact Fund. Okay, they can intake any assets. If you have land, if you have land, high-priced vehicles, jewelry, expensive artwork, cryptocurrency, any type of assets you have, they can monetize it for you, okay, on a non-recourse option, and bring that money forward for development projects.
Okay, let's take a break here now, and we'll come back with you in a minute to continue the discussion. Hi, join me, Surajat Marbury, on ITV every Thursday night, 8 to 9 on ieSPORTS Digest, a comprehensive roundup of all sports, local, regional, and international. We will reach out to our villages and our communities in all areas of Trinidad and Tobago to highlight their sporting activities. I'll also invite prominent guests to share their views and address current issues facing sports, focusing on realistic solutions. Join me on ITV.
ieSPORTS Digest, Thursdays at 8 p.m. right here on IETV.
We have been able to link up the sports with what Dennis is doing with his Vihara Foundation. The part he wants to go, we have identified that, women's sports, and especially we are looking at cricket, an opportunity that may arise for Caribbean women to participate in the Dubai tournament, and of course in IPL, because once you get a foot into these tournaments and you perform well, it means a lot of other tournaments open up to you, and we have talented women cricketers in the Caribbean, just waiting for that break, to move on, like how the men have been able to. So, as I said, you spent some time in India, in Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. What exactly was the Vihara Foundation doing there?
Well, I did a lot of work in the United States in the area of sustainable development. So people recognize my work, all right? I was involved in the U.S. Green Building movement in around 1999. And I got picked up by some of the top architects in America, and I was picked up by the engineering department at the New York City Transit, which was the first in New York State to open an office of sustainability. And this work became trailblazing, and I guess my name got plastered across the country as an innovator in green building. And then the Air Force at the Pentagon level heard about me, and they offered me an opportunity to work on a project to green military bases. So I was assigned to that project, and that was basically my launching pad. I got national recognition for the work I did in innovating green and sustainable concepts for reducing carbon impact. But then I got into a little political crossroads working at that level with the US government, and I had to pack my bags and I went to India. I just quit everything. I left New York and I went to India to work on an engineering project for 3 years. And while I was in India, I realized when I ran into a gentleman who spoke our native tongue, Bhojpuri. He said, Bhojpuri belongs to Uttar Pradesh, and if your grandparents spoke Bhojpuri, you must be coming from Uttar Pradesh. And I said, really? And he took me to the village where he came from in Ballia, and I could just see Freeport. I could see my grandparents. I could see cows. I could see chulhas. I could see everything we grew up with. And I said, this is where we came from. This is what I know when I was born and growing up. These are all cultural things I know. But what I took away was how much poverty these people were confronting. People were still living in grass houses. Those people had no toilets. They had no running water. They were sleeping exposed to the elements, the coldness, the heat. They were exposed to fires, snakes, and all kinds of environmental threats. And this is what they dubbed by the World Bank the most poverty-stricken region in the world. And I said, if this is the most poverty-stricken region in the world, and it's challenging the World Bank. And I'm an engineer coming from US, and I'm exposed to all these professionals who have know-how and solutions. We need to do something. I can't just walk out of here like a tourist and say, it was good coming here, see you guys later. No, I'm going to do something. I started making phone calls, started calling my ambassador friends at the United Nations, and they all agreed we needed to do something. So we all commissioned the Vihara Foundation in July of 2009, and the rest was history. The rest was history. We just went trailblazing. We got picked up by the economic department of Fordham University, and we were just forward trailblazing. We were just innovating. It was just a magnet to attract
So among the
innovators.
Among the top leaders in the foundation are some of the UN ambassadors.
It was founded by 2 UN ambassadors, the former head of water and sanitation at UNICEF, yes, and it was founded by Ambassador Blake, who was the senior advisor to the President of the General Assembly, and he was also the Assistant General Secretary of CARICOM.
A lot of people who actually were aware of, world issues, let's put it that way. And how successful was the efforts in Varanasi?
The efforts is still ongoing.
Okay.
There's a lot of planning. This is what people don't realize. In order to execute a project of this size, we're looking to revamp the landscape. We have master planned a model to revamp the landscape, to bring small farmers together, cluster their lands, so that we can manage the natural resource, we can fix the water problem, we can fix the soil problem, we can reforest the area, and then we can do commercial farming on a cooperative basis. Because what the farming they're doing right now is very stressful. It's damaging the environment, it's adding too much pesticides, and it's stressing the water, it's destroying the soil. That model is destructive. It's going to collapse soon. So we are now taking control of this, making these poor farmers or small farmers stakeholder into a commercial enterprise, which is basically a cooperative cluster, and driving higher productivity. Productivity in food production, productivity in water production, productivity in biodiversity richness, productivity in energy, because the area has no energy.
Yeah.
It's a place in darkness. You barely get like 2 hours to charge your phone, when you're out there. So we are creating sustainable wealth, and this model is attracting a lot of eyes, global eyeballs.
You have started the work.
Yeah, we've been doing this project for the last 10 years, minus 2 years COVID impact.
Of course.
So 10 years we have been modeling this thing on paper, selling it, beating the drums, designing the fundraising program to go along it. And now we're ready for execution. This thing is going to launch on September. The program, the project and the fundraising program is going to launch at the United Nations General Assembly on September 23rd this year, in another few weeks. And then from there, it's all going to be history. We're going to hit the road running. And also, this whole system model that we're doing in India, it is now being adopted into South Africa, Uganda. We're going to take it to Zambia, Mozambique. We are now getting invitations to push this model globally. So this thing is going global, and I hope to see it come to Trinidad.
That was my next question. That was my next question. We have seen you come from Freeport, you left, you went to New York, you have been to India. It sounds very interesting if you can get this model, especially to work where you link all and there's sustainability, you link all the parts together. And you say that it's now you're looking at spread around different areas. What about Trinidad and Tobago?
Trinidad, I have a master plan for Trinidad. I want to see all 136 local constituents bring their leadership forward so that we can reactivate what's called village councils that are just sitting four-wall, idle, everybody passing by, say, oh my God, I only want to see that place. The village council should be the lifeline and the backbone of every village. This is the place I want to see that we are setting up nurseries to grow seedlings for vegetable and fruits, okay? This is the place I want to see we're taking waste from the whole community and generating mountains of compost, which is richness in wealth and energy, right? This is the place I want to see youths coming and learning the concept of food and energy production and business development, and people self-creating their own wealth and jobs and not depending on government handouts. You know, we can convert a lot of our idle lands into richness. The time is now. Richness is not about having $1 million in the bank. It's about having enough food, having enough water, having energy, having opportunities where we learn about how to produce things and put them on sale and tap the international and regional markets and make self-income. We don't have to leave a lot of these young people behind, which is one of the reasons I went to New York, because we had no opportunities.
Well, that's many years ago, and how much have changed, because you know now that people are leaving again because of lack of opportunities. And in this program, before we mentioned, you know, we talk about the primary school in the area being a hub of activity long time. Everything happened there. And then we did have village councils, which I don't know if we do have anymore, if it does exist. The school, the primary school, the village council, and a lot of places had the actual buildings that they housed themselves in. We now have more modernized community centers that really don't serve the purpose that like you discussed there, that things should be happening there, just a building that line there and people come and have a fete or something, you know. So, I mean, it's food for thought, and you say the time is now, the time has long passed, we are behind time, and we have to play catch up.
Play catch up? Play catch up is real. The time is now. When we launch this thing on September 23rd and they see the strength of the people standing behind this, the big names globally standing behind this, you might even ask where this little village Trinidadian came from to be involved in this big movement, because, you know, I helped mastermind most of it. So, you know, I don't ask for no rewards. I don't want any rewards. I don't want anything. I don't even take a paycheck. I just do as I do to do better for the world. Now, the thing that hurts me most is to see all these youths having no opportunities, and I want to create that bridge. I want the bridge that I'm working on the other side of the ocean, the international platform that is connected to all these innovators and all these billionaires, bridge over the ocean and touches every one of these community centers in this village. I want to see that, where a young person can come to the community center, learn about our work, adopt our work, and then use that as a stepping stone to climb out, if he wants to or she wants to, climb out of the village to higher opportunities, to bigger opportunities. I want to see young Caribbean people, young Trinidadians and Tobagonians coming and playing on the international platform. There is a call for young people who wants to make a difference in the world.
Very much so. And but you know that sometimes to get things done, while you sometimes wonder, and I'm sure the viewers don't, you sit in your little discussions at home, in the family and with your friends, and you think, well, we know this is what has to be done. You know, why is it not being done? And is it that the leaders don't know it has to be done? Don't they sit and discuss? And yes, they know, right? They know it has to be done. But what you don't have is the political will to do what is right. This is not a
forum for political correctness, because if I have to say what I have to say tonight, I might embarrass your radio station.
Yeah. No, we're not going to the politics. Let's talk about the political will to get things done.
The political wills, who controls the way forward? Let's forget the MPs, let's forget the councillors, let's forget all the politicians that is blocking the way forward for this country. Let the people come forward and take ownership of their own communities.
Okay, so we'll get back to that. Let's go on a break. Hi, join me, Surajat Marbury, on ITV every Thursday night, 8 to 9 on ieSPORTS Digest, a comprehensive roundup of all sports, local, regional, and international. We will reach out to our villages and our communities in all areas of Trinidad and Tobago to highlight their sporting activities. I'll also invite prominent guests to share their views and address current issues facing sports, focusing on realistic solutions. Join me on ITV.
ieSPORTS Digest, Thursdays at 8 p.m. right here on IETV.
Right. So before we left, we're looking at the community and the village, and it's something we always talk about in Trinidad and Tobago. You know, how can we make it happen? And in this program, we said that we are going to look at realistic solutions. How can we make it happen? So we heard Dennis talk about this plan that if you can get it going in the community centers, thing that happened long ago, reinvent the wheel sort of, and get these things happening. And Dennis, I brought up the point of political will because I wanted to say that even if you do not have the political will, but it can still be done.
It can still be done. You don't need, one of the major mistakes we make in this country, and I realize that, is that we think a politician has to put a rubber stamp to give you the approval to innovate. We need to stop that. We need to start innovating in our own front yards, in our own communities. All right, we need to take back control of this country. This country belongs to us, not the politicians. All right, so stop feeling like if you want something, if you have a desire for something that you think is beneficial to my community and my nation, put it forward. Put it forward. Let's lobby for it. I will support anybody who comes forward with any innovation that will make this country better. But what I don't want to see is everybody's thinking that we're not going to go nowhere because the politician has the steer. Yeah, the politician has the steering wheel. They have the controls of areas that we can't have constitutional control over, like police and certain policies concerning trade and all these things. Yeah, we understand that, but we have to push hard where innovation is going to benefit the people, because for too long the people are suffering.
Very much so. And, there is still hope, a lot of hope for change and to bring about the change that needed. And one of the concepts that we are looking here with Dennis is don't wait on other people. Get back to the old system of the village council, get your village council back functional, get back your people together in your small communities, and by doing that you can start the transformation.
Yeah, well, let's do it through cricket. Let's use cricket as an invitation to bring families together, to blend, to talk about ideas. Yeah, we're going to talk cricket and we're going to enjoy cricket, and everybody's going to remember the game and who scored the six and who scored the century, but it's beyond that now. Families need to be talking about how to work together. And I'm personally saying I am going to bring financial resources into every village council in this country to start up this independent movement of growing your own food, producing your own energy, producing your own water, producing your own products that we can take on the international market, championing youths who are talented in sports, bringing them into the forefront. You understand? Building our own brands, connecting to the bigger platform, connecting to the bigger platform of sports so that value can come back to the village. Let's do this.
It doesn't necessarily be cricket, because we do have a lot of sports in
exactly. You're right.
Cricket, football, athletics. We do have cricket and football are the two most common, but it's something that our viewers listening there, and we have a lot of people involved in sports who will be listening, and those are other people in the community who support that. Look, let's look at how this can be done. Contact IETV, contact me if you are interested. I'll put you on. I'll chat with Dennis. We'll keep in contact with him and see how we can get this thing going, because as I said, this program is about what we can do, and that's why I choose to veer a little bit away from just the sports today, but to look at holistic ways of improving ourselves here in Trinidad and Tobago and making life better, because on a daily basis in Trinidad for the last month or more, all we have been having are roadblocks, tires burning, garbage burning. I understand somewhere in Pinal, yesterday or today, they went a little different and they dropped 2 truckload of sand in the road to block the road. They didn't burn, they blocked the road. And yes, we are in a bad state in terms of a lot of things, but can we do sometimes something to make a difference if we want? And this is what we are discussing. So except, what other areas of sports have you been involved in?
Well, I'm involved in the, I was recently inducted as a board advisor into the National Sports Museum 2025.
That's in New York.
This is in New York, yes, and this sports museum is basically highlighting sports people who have made an impact in the world in regards to humanity and peace and other areas of building communities. You know, there are a lot of great sports players that did great things for the world other than just win a trophy. And this new museum, the National Sports Museum, I'm happy to be a board advisor on that, and serving as advisor also, which I just learned is President Obama and Michelle Obama. So I feel very privileged to be on that board. And also I'm also networked to Entrobox that does international world boxing. They are doing a lot of boxing promotion and championships throughout America, in Las Vegas and Orlando and elsewhere, and I'm connected with them, and they are a major part of helping support this whole entertainment and sports and fundraising drive.
Okay,
To
so it
build
means that
humanity. Yeah.
there could be opportunities for our local boxers there.
Yeah, of course.
Lovely, because this ieSPORTS Digest is about all different sports. It's not.
You're right, and I shouldn't have just focused.
No,
I'm only focusing on cricket because you're a
of me.
cricket star.
Because that's where I come from, but I've been trying to
Remember,
spread it
I'm also
around.
related to Dinesh Ramdin.
You have some pedigree then.
His grandmother and my grandmother were first cousins. They came on that boat from India, you know.
Okay.
So we all grew up in that little
So you have a cricketing
Freeport
background.
area.
You ever played a ball?
I think I'm a good cricketer, but you know, nobody never. I was so skinny when I was small. The pads used to outweigh me, and I couldn't run. I needed a runner. But I think I have some skills. I'll take you to the field.
Of course. So that's a challenge that we will pick up. So we are getting to the end of the program. Anything else that you want to bring forward?
Hey, I just want to say, I mean, I'm happy for this sudden opportunity. I didn't come here on business. I came to see my father, and I'm happy for the opportunity for you bringing me on this show. I think we have a very beautiful nation, and the beauty of our nation is our people, and don't ever forget that. And I want the people to start thinking innovation. Forget government. Don't wait for handouts. Start coming back to your communities and thinking about innovation. And if ever you want ideas, pick up the phone and call me, or call you and you'll call me. But there are solutions out there. Just, you know, we just got to come together as people and take back control of this nation. I don't want to see this nation go south, because there's too much pride in this nation, and there's too much heritage in this nation, and too much blood and sacrifice in this nation for us to just discard it, you know, because of poor management by our current political system.
And you brought up something there. You used the word blood, which is very, you know, I mean, in Trinidad and Tobago right now, we know that the crime situation is, you know, we're in a mess. And again, how do you get out of it? And one of the reasons why it is high is because there's an old saying since primary school, I'm sure you know, the devil find work for idle hands to do. And therefore, with all these young people now leaving school, cannot find opportunities, cannot find jobs, cannot find anywhere to turn to. and therefore easy money comes, and easy opportunities come, they grow up to it. And therefore we come back to the same thing we were discussing, that if you could go back into the village and try to reignite back that village life, that community life, and get things happening in the village in terms of trade. Don't wait for them to come to you. I think that's a mistake we are making, sure that we need to reach out to the
I know what it's like to be empty pocket, to be broken, to be standing on the streets of Trinidad and Tobago and watching somebody eating or drinking something, or you don't have money to pay a taxi. I lived that life in this country. You know, I used to cut bhaji and sell in the local village using my bicycle to make $1 for a bundle of bhaji back then. I know what it's like to be in that situation, and I know how hurtful it is for a young person to feel hopeless that, you know, I at least passed through high school and I can't find a job and I don't have anybody to give me a handout. But you know, we have to really help the young people. We got to innovate, and we got to save this country.
And it's nothing new. It's sad. It's sad because what you spoke about there, when I graduated from university, I'll tell people this, I planted rice. My father was president of the Rice Growers Association. I used to plant rice and sell. I rode red ducks. I planted pepper because I couldn't get a job. It took me a while, and then I went into teaching. I work construction with my brothers. So it's not nothing new, but well, I think we have generated some good discussion here. The idea of getting back to the village and trying to change things from the bottom up rather than trying to get things from the top down and waiting for some handout and somebody at the top to do. I truly appreciate that. It's a way probably we need to go, and we will continue this discussion. As I said, if you can't get me, contact IETV, and my number is very easy, 486-0498. 486-0498. It's all over the place. You can Google it, you might get it, and contact me, and let's see how we can take Dennis to task that he don't only help to develop New York and India, but some come back to us here in Trinidad and Tobago. A pleasant good night to all our viewers again, and do have a wonderful night. See you next week.